Greetings everyone and welcome back to a new video. Now today we have returned with yet another controversial video. It's a tier list, I know. It's honestly, I say controversial, it's maybe like 1 or 2 dislikes, but I'm just saying, like, these videos, it's very opinionated, but I'm still gonna do them. I love them, bro. I love ranking stuff myself. It's always been just a complete pleasure to do these sort of things. So today, we're actually doing Assassin's Creed games. Now, we've lately been talking about Ubisoft in a bad manner, and rightfully so. It's been just losses after losses, and their reputation is going downwards, but I wanted to talk about a little bit on the good side. And, you know, there's some bad sides, but I do feel like this series has mostly been positive, and I just wanted to make a ranked tier of these games. They're fully opinionated. I'm not, like, completely looking at facts of this gameplay is much better and the story is much more improved on this one. Now it's purely just like, sure, story, it's what I enjoy. Gameplay, is it worth it for me? Like, for example, it could be that I tier Assassin's Creed 1 higher than maybe, I don't know, Unity, even though I feel like Unity's gameplay is way more fluid compared to the first game, obviously, because there's a big year gap, but or a couple year gaps. So yeah, but it's just gonna be purely on what I feel like. Hey, replayability, I enjoy this a lot. I try not to factor in nostalgia, also purely because I have been replaying the game. So far just finished Black Flag and I am moving on to Unity right now as of today, while still doing some of the side quests from Black Flag that I still need to finish. But yeah, so let's just start it. All right, let's just start it. First of all, I'm gonna do it on the list of releases, and I did skip a couple like Freedom Cry and stuff like that because I didn't deem them that important, sadly. I'm sorry. We're starting with Assassin's Creed 1. Now, I do have to mention that I actually did not start with Assassin's Creed 1. My first Assassin's Creed game was in fact 2, and I played Assassin's Creed 1 just a little before Brotherhood released, because I pretty much from Brotherhood onwards I played most of these games on release, but Assassin's Creed 1 was a bit of a latecomer for me. Now, I do have to say, I have replayed it like not that recently, maybe like 2018 or 2019, purely for the achievements maybe, and just replaying the story because I played it as a kid and I didn't really fully understand most of these concepts. But while it definitely has started the whole Assassin's Creed saga, and we've thankfully, because of that game, we've got a span of multiple generations and just a ton of fucking games from Assassin's Creed that I really enjoy. I don't fully rank Assassin's Creed 1 that high. I do have to say the side quest content you were forced to do before meeting your main target was a slog. I don't want to completely talk about collectibles, but the start of them, being this game, it has added collectibles, the Templar flags and stuff like that, and I just felt like that was also just a pain in the ass if you wanted to do them. Now, I don't fully struggle with the idea of having to do something within a game, but I can assure you there are some people that just absolutely hate doing this sort of stuff because mentally they feel like they need to do it, and I'd rather just down the amount of collectibles you need to grab by 90%, like have 10 flags of this, 10 or 10 feathers or whatever. Just don't make it 100. It's just not side activity content. And I will talk about this throughout the tier list because I do feel like while I enjoy most of the Assassin's Creed games, side content and endgame content has never been their forte. Like, I feel like that's always the weakest point with Ubisoft in general, I'm gonna have to say it. Now, I do like Altair as a character. I did like the fact you had to sort of work your way up again. I enjoy games that show you the tools you have at the start, or like basically the tools you're gonna get at endgame, but you can't have them anymore because of either amnesia or you lose your stuff and stuff like that. And Assassin's Creed 1 was sort of like building up your gadgets again from time to time. And yeah, I do have to say though, if parts of the Altair gameplay from Revelations was within 1 as an epilogue of some sort, I probably would have ranked it higher purely because of story-based stuff. But honestly, I'm gonna put Assassin's Creed 1 on the B tier. I feel like it's not as also, this is not what I want. Can I There we go. I just wanted to hide it to make it look prettier. Yeah. I could go in depth for all of these games, but otherwise it will be a 6-hour video, so I do want to try and keep it as short as possible. Now, Assassin's Creed 2 is the game where I started, and it has basically just started the whole Ezio trilogy, and it's one of my favorite stories in general within the Assassin's Creed saga. That being said though, compared to the other games, I do have to say Assassin's Creed 2's gameplay is a little bit weaker. Especially if you start playing Brotherhood, you'll notice that you're kind of missing the whole kill streak ability. Having to reparry most of the enemies is just a bit of a slog. But I do have to say, story-wise, I thought it was really good. I have to mention that before everything else. The music was amazing. Ezio's family is actually just one of the best themes within Assassin's Creed, and I'm super glad there's different reiterations within that theme for the other games, and I feel like I'm very happy to hear that song has become like the main theme of Assassin's Creed. Like if you hear the theme, you're already thinking Assassin's Creed, and for the most people that have been playing Assassin's Creed, they'll think about Ezio. Yeah, I enjoyed the idea of having your own villa and like little village that you could build up and work onto by spending money on it, and you get like just a lot of interest back. I like those sort of side activities, so I do have to give them plus for me being able to do that. I also enjoyed the parkour system in order to for the assassin tombs, in order to get the Altair armor, which has been then also modified by Ezio to have a bit of a Renaissance look, because it was mainly the plates. And I really enjoyed that, and I felt like an absolute badass finally having that armor. So yeah, I don't know. And honestly, weirdly enough, I feel like Assassin's Creed 2's outfit, which is mostly just called Giovanni's outfit, is actually one of the best looking outfits in Assassin's Creed. So, but yeah, I liked most of the concept. If I think about something that I dislike about Assassin's Creed 2, there isn't much. I have noticed that because it's an older game, the parkour system isn't as fully fledged as other games, and I have had my annoyances when some stuff just simply did not work. I also feel like the jump for the parkour system in order to like reach a higher ledge was way too late in the game, all the way to Venice, before you were able to like jump higher places, and I feel like it was just a massive handicap whenever you want to replay it. There's also no replayability in the game. I don't know if even the Ezio collection has that. I didn't actually check, but back when I played the normal Assassin's Creed 2 outside the Ezio collection, you couldn't replay missions. So if you wanted to, if you guys missed hugging Leonardo da Vinci, then you are forced to sadly restart the game like I did. That being said though, I will put this on A tier. There's not that many downsides towards the game. I have a lot of love for it, and I recently replayed it, and there has been some things that I just dislike, like the parkour system and stuff like that, and taking a long time to fully get the parkour system down. And but yeah, I wouldn't put it on S tier because I feel like within the games there's a couple that I feel like, hey, I really want to replay this. But yeah, starting with Brotherhood further, it was a bit convoluted. The system where you rebuilt blacksmiths and stuff like that, because now it was suddenly based on all of Rome. I felt like the system of Monteriggioni was much nicer because it's a small place to look at, and you see the upgrades and you feel like you've actually been doing something for your people and stuff like that. While in Rome, it's too big and you won't actually notice it. I also feel like the whole passive income within Brotherhood came on way too early, so I feel like people could just easily just do other stuff and wait for some, like you could earn 1,000 to 2,000 florins pretty much early on in the game passively and just let it run, and you are set out to get one of the best gears in the game later on once it's unlocked. And I just feel like it's a bit of a downside to it. The gameplay is much nicer. I do have to say I enjoyed the kill streak. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm glad they added that in the system because it's been pretty much used in most of these games now. The story, however, I feel like it was a little bit dragged out. I feel like it could have been done like 3-4 sequences less. It just kept going and going, and I don't know, just spending so much time within one place, I got tired pretty quickly. So, yeah. The multiplayer, I'm not really going to talk about it. I enjoyed it for what it was, but this is not really that important for me. If I think about downsides for Brotherhood, I do have to say I don't like a lot of the tailing missions. This is going to look weird. I just feel like sometimes they're not well done. I've never been a big fan of too many tailing missions. I'm fine with just every now and then having a mission that I have to tell someone, but I feel like sometimes the system really makes it so that you're gonna desynchronize whatever you do. So you better get used to replaying it. It's like tailing has become the Dark Souls of Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I do have to say I feel like the story of Assassin's Creed 2 outshines Brotherhood by a ton. And while Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's gameplay has been improved upon a lot, I do have to sadly place it below Assassin's Creed 2. Now, like I do with all my tier lists, the left side I tier higher than the right side if they're on the same tier. Revelations. Now, this game was pretty much just as short as Brotherhood. Though this time I didn't really feel like it was that dragged on, especially because there was an area later on within a cave where you get just a complete new look. Yeah, just honestly, for me, the trailer of the game already is like one of the best trailers I've ever seen. I still listen to the Iron theme of Woodkid very often. I really like. This was a game that I completely enjoyed because I just kept wanting more, if that makes sense. You basically have to like get through certain areas or layers, and you get one of the discs, or at least the first 4 discs. The 5th one comes on pretty much by story related later on, and you pretty much get like small snippets of Altair. And I felt like every time I finished one of the discs, I'm like, I want to know what happens to Altair more often. Like, I just want to follow that story. So it really kept me going. Yeah. I completely also didn't really talk about Brotherhood's assassin group. Because honestly, you pretty much own your own little band of assassins. And Revelations also has that. I do have to say, though, that for Revelations, I really dislike this whole tower defense system. I just felt like it was so out of place. I just really didn't like it. I'll be honest, I played the tutorial because it was forced, and otherwise I really didn't play that mode anymore. But yeah, I do have to say, story-wise, it's very good, adding Altair's segments with Ezio. I do have to say I also enjoyed the conclusion within Ezio's storyline, because I believe Revelations also gave you a disc for Embers, which was a 20-minute animation for Ezio's later life. The Desmond sequences, and later on the Lost, I forgot the name, it was like a DLC, the whole first person maneuvering in the game, I really disliked. It was just, it felt so out of place and forced. But yeah, just I try to skip that whenever I replay the game. Now I'm just doing it purely for the achievements, but I'm not a big fan of this whole first person making blocks and find your way forward. It was just, it feels a little bit forced and just a way to drag out the story where it's not really needed. But yeah, where would I place Revelations though? Yeah, this is awkward. I'd probably put it below. I think I still hold Revelations a little bit higher than Brotherhood, purely because I feel like Revelations gameplay and Brotherhood are a little bit the same. They have both their same ups and downs, but Revelations has an upper edge because of the story. I feel like that was way better than Brotherhood. Revelations actually kept me wanting more. Brotherhood was one of those games where I'm like, please let it end, please finish the story. Whereas Revelations, I was like, wait, is that it? I'm not done yet. I want more. But anyways, let's just move on. We got Assassin's Creed 3. Oh boy, this was so controversial at the time. I think purely because Ezio had like 3 games and Connor was like his personality is completely different compared to Ezio. It's more stoic, more like less tempered, or like just angry very often. There's a lot of memes of just screaming Charles Lee, give me Lee, and stuff like that. And they saw him as childish, and I feel like I sort of understand people's criticism, but I feel like they never look at the bigger picture of Connor, because Connor's always just had bad luck after bad luck. And he's just been, again, like Ezio, driven by revenge. If anything, I feel like Ezio in Assassin's Creed 2 didn't have that much of a personality aside from vengeance. And in Brotherhood, halfway through the game, he was still just against everyone, especially his sister. It was Revelations was the only game where Ezio finally felt like himself and he was at peace and he could talk about stuff. But with Assassin's Creed 3, I feel like Connor never really grew up. I feel like he had like a very sort of logical child vision in the real world. Yeah, it's like whenever something happens within the game and people don't want to do a certain action, Connor's just thinking like, yeah, but just do what you need to do. But then they'll be like, yeah, but because of the politics or because of this, we can't really do that. And Connor doesn't seem to understand why. He just thinks, just do it or don't do it. But yeah, the story of Assassin's Creed 3 I really enjoyed. I also completely enjoyed the absolute graphic overhaul finally, because we've had 3 games of Ezio that had sort of like the same graphic system, the same parkour system. And Assassin's Creed 3, tree climbing, jumping over fences, running animation. Can I talk about that? Assassin's Creed 3, to this day, I feel like has the best fucking run animation in gaming history, man. I'm not even talking about Assassin's Creed. The way he just runs with absolute speed, ducking his head to try and like gain speed again, and just, oh bro, and it has so many fucking animations. It's ridiculous. Pushing people aside, which was very annoying in the Ezio collection, because you kind of had to press a certain button to push people aside, but you couldn't fully sprint because otherwise you'd tumble on the floor. Whereas in Assassin's Creed 3, you kind of just run like a savage and just push people aside, and you don't have to do anything. It's just, I feel like Assassin's Creed 3 was way more cinematic. The Homestead missions were very good. I really enjoyed Homestead a lot. I feel like people that talk about Connor being very boring and like, they kind of have to try and fully play out the Homestead missions, because I feel like that was like actually good side content for once from Ubisoft. Like, the Homestead missions was very good. That being said though, aside from the main story of Assassin's Creed 3 and Homestead missions, I feel like there wasn't much else to do. You had the Peg Leg missions and some other like very small side quests to do, but otherwise there wasn't much activity for that game where I felt like I could play longer. I feel like they should have probably overhauled the hunting system and made it even better. For example, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood had a system where you needed to get certain materials to upgrade your armor, but as far as I remember, Assassin's Creed 3 doesn't really have that, and I think they did that because they wanted to get rid of the whole armor system. But you're gonna add hunting systems. I feel like this could have been a good way to sort of improve on your stuff. Now, I know it sort of happens later with weapons and stuff, but I felt like it would have been better for armor as well, and it would have improved the whole hunting system. Well, I also just couldn't really get the whole like logbook stuff like that, the activities where you need to trade stock and whatever. I just really didn't care much about the system. But yeah, honestly, I felt like it was a very good addition, and I really enjoyed the story. Would I put it on S tier? I wouldn't. I don't know, actually. I think Assassin's Creed 3, I'll probably hold it higher than Assassin's Creed 2, definitely, and the Ezio trilogy, because I just enjoyed Assassin's Creed 3 way more, and the gameplay itself makes me want to replay the game already, and it's been like 2 weeks since I finished it again. So, yeah. There's like more stuff I could talk about every single game, but I could even delve into the whole Isu stuff and the Apple of Edens, but I'm kind of just trying to... People just care. If anything, I feel like 80% of the people will just click the last 2-3 minutes to see what the actual tier is and then talk about it. Yeah, I wish I could talk more in depth of each game, but I don't have that much time. This one is a quick and easy one. I actually haven't played Liberation. I will play it pretty soon because I have the remastered and the achievements on Liberations are kind of on display on 0%, and I feel like I need to do it now. But back then I really didn't care much about Liberation. I was just interested for the next actual big Assassin's Creed game, which is Black Flag. Just finished it again. I've replayed the game about 3 times. I love pirates, and I'm so glad Black Flag was actually out because I feel like we are so deprived of pirate content. I feel like there aren't many pirate games fully fledged out, and this one is amazing, bro. You could just free roam through your own ship. You could swim to islands. You could grab treasure maps. You could upgrade your ship. You could have naval battles. The story of Black Flag is superb. You have Edward Kenway, who's an absolute greedy piece of shit. Bro, I played this as a kid and I held him up as a fucking messiah. I completely forgot throughout the first 8-9 sequences, Edward is just money, 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 and there isn't anything else on his mind. But yeah, I definitely, after so many deaths that he's experienced, he finally had like an actual epiphany that, you know what, I'll just say it. I feel like there was one cutscene that I rewatch every now and then because it really hits me every time I rewatch it. It's when Edward goes back to Tulum, which is the island of the assassins, and he meets Ade again, and he just goes, Jesus, Ade, what the hell happened here? And Ade's like, you happened here. The damage you did 6 years ago has not been undone, or whatever. And you have this whole speech of Edward seeing that he has so much money, all of the riches of the world, a reputation and whatever, and he doesn't have anyone he loves standing next by him because they've either left him or has been killed off. And it really hit Edward that moment that he was trying to just I guess become better, maybe finding himself as a person because he didn't really have a complete purpose outside of just gaining money. And I feel like the Assassins was finally a way for him to think like, you know what, I can become better, I can improve on myself. But yeah, the whole story itself was great. I feel like I do have to say the minus points of Black Flag is I actually didn't like the modern story as much. Desmond's saga was amazing, and while I hold Assassin's Creed 3 on the top of 80, I will have to say that the ending they had for Desmond, even though he appears later, was absolute dog shit, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I feel like every single progress I made throughout the modern story was pretty much for nothing, but that's how I see it. But yeah, Black Flag. I also need to say, by the way, my favorite outfit out of all the Assassin's Creed games. I pretty much hold the Ezio outfit as second in every single outfit, but the Black Flag, bro, that's on another level. This one is an instant S tier for me. There's no doubt about it. I feel like this was finally the way that Ubisoft should have gone to. Granted, obviously not every Assassin's Creed game forward should have been a naval type of piratey game, but I feel like they finally had a good foundation. The side content was good to do, treasure maps, legendary ships, hunting for ships to upgrade your jackdaw. Stuff like that was just fun to do. The Templar hunts was also great. They added a bit of story and you could get a nice armor set. The Mayan stones, there weren't that many you had to actually grab. The Animus fragments, they can fuck right off. I'm not even going to talk about that, so that's another downside, but yeah. The Chronicles are pretty much all the other like side 2D games, or sort of 2D games, I think, or side scrolls, whatever they're called. I actually haven't played this. I think I tried the China one, but I just couldn't really get into them, so I'm just going to put them on haven't played. We got Rogue now. I'm trying to think how I played Rogue, because I had Rogue and Unity around the same time, but I think I gave Unity priority and I played Rogue afterwards. I know the one thing that really annoyed me about Rogue is that Che has basically his like standard Templar outfit, but in the game it's unhooded. And I really dislike that. I know he's not exactly an assassin anymore, but I wasn't a big fan of that. I do have to say though, Rogue I disliked it a little bit more purely because I had a bit of a fatigue from playing Black Flag too much. To the point that Rogue was, even though it's a great smaller game, I feel like it was hard to get into because I've already played Black Flag so much that Rogue was pretty much the same system, and I just grew tired of it a little bit. So I didn't held it like as high as Black Flag. But I do have to say I enjoyed the story. I like the correlation with Assassin's Creed 3 because Achilles appeared there, and you also see why Achilles has pretty much given up on being an assassin early on the game for Assassin's Creed 3. You get a bit of a backstory. You also get Haytham back, and also Adewale. So yeah, I feel like Rogue is actually such an underrated game because it has basically connected Assassin's Creed 3, Black Flag to an extent, and Unity. Why, I'm not gonna say because people might have not played it, but there's definitely like good correlations within the game. That being said, though, it's not a game I would easily replay. But I think I still would pretty much hold it higher than Assassin's Creed 1 because it has way more side content that I would enjoy playing, whereas Assassin's Creed 1, it just, aside from the main quest is a slog. I like when you actually get the targets you have to assassinate and the story with it, but the amount of things you need to do to get to that point is very annoying. And in Assassin's Creed Rogue, the story is just good, all in all. A little bit short, but I still would I would rank the games on A and S just higher than Rogue. So I'm going to put it on the top of B tier. Unity. Now, Unity was a flop for Ubisoft. Now, I actually didn't encounter any bugs at all, as far as I remember. At least not any of the bad ones. I also didn't play co-op because my internet was absolute shite. So, yeah, I actually played co-op about a year ago, and it was still thriving to an extent. I was playing with people from, like, not Europe, and it was very laggy, but co-op worked. It worked, and that's what matters. I didn't really care much for the story of Unity. I'm gonna have to be honest. I wasn't a big fan of it. I did like the customization for your outfits a lot, man. Story was just very meh for me. I wasn't a big fan of it. I felt like they were trying to copy Ezio's personality again, and it feels like you're just looking at someone that is just having a forced personality. I also didn't really like the whole romance with Arno and Elise. I'm sorry, I wasn't just the biggest fan of it. Story-wise, I just felt like it was one of the weakest out of all the Assassin's Creed games. But gameplay-wise, I absolutely loved it, man. From the basically different ways to finding your target, to the absolute immense overhaul of the parkour system. The combat was actually threatening. I also like the idea of finally sort of going back to like one-ish hidden blades. I didn't like the whole idea of having double hidden blades. They felt like a little bit too much. I felt like one was just nice, little niche. Use it for assassinations and don't use it for combat. That was my opinion. Yeah, I can't really comment much on the co-op, sadly, because I didn't experience it as much. But otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna have to put unit. Also, another thing I disliked early on in the story, you kind of see like you play as a Templar, as far as I remember, in like the 12th century, 11th century, and they also showed like videos of like other eras you could have selected, but they were unavailable. I wish they were available, man. Really, it sucked. I think it also had did it have a companion app? Am I remembering things wrong? I feel like Unity had an app for the game. But anyways, yeah, I'd probably put this above Rogue, but still below. Yeah, this is so awkward. I'll put this on the top of B tier. Okay, Syndicate. Now, this is why I actually started to love Assassin's Creed a little bit less, and this is purely because I was getting a massive fatigue. I remember I got the game on release, and within a week, I kind of stopped. Again, story-wise, I couldn't get into it. I replayed the game later on, and I finished it, and I did like it. But there were a couple of minor things that I just disliked. One of them being you couldn't put the hood on unless you were crouching. I get it. You know, Victorian England, top hats are probably like a way to show that you're just a civilian or you have luxury or whatever. But it's just a game, man. Let me look cool. This whole fucking unhooded thing was pissing me off so much to the point that I would crouch in the game and then just sprint and call it a day. But it was just very annoying for me. The story, I always felt like I just didn't understand where they wanted to go with it. You get the gang so early as well. I felt like, bro, I feel like there wasn't that much of a character development. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much to talk about Syndicate because the gameplay is kind of the same like Unity. It has a bit of RPG elements because you can upgrade both Jacob and Evie. But I don't know. I just couldn't get into it as much. So I'm probably going to put Syndicate on C tier, the bottom. I'll still replay it. Like, it's still good, but there's just so many things I dislike about the game that I just couldn't put it any higher than the other ones. And also, I forgot to mention, one of the reasons I put Unity still on the top of B tier is because the DLC Dead Kings I thoroughly really enjoyed, and I feel like it's actually one of the best DLCs out of all the Assassin's Creed games and all the DLCs they contain, so that's why I put it a little bit higher. But I feel like Unity and Syndicate have very weak stories. The gameplay was just superb, but I don't know, for me, there needs to be a balance. If there's this amazing story, but the gameplay is absolute shite, there's obviously I just can't get through it. But if the gameplay is super nice, I can get through it, but I'm gonna get bored really easily, and the replayability for me is lesser so because I just couldn't enjoy the story. So, yeah. Anyways, now we're getting into the RPG of Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna be real. I'm not a big fan of the system. I really dislike it from the get-go. I played Origins way later because Syndicate was kind of like the point where I was taking a break for basically there we go. I was taking a break from Assassin's Creed in general. I was just a little bit tired of it, and then Origins came out, and I just wasn't as excited, so I waited with it. I do have to say the story for Origins I really liked. I haven't played the DLCs though, but just the story itself was really good. I feel like the side quest and that sort of content, I just couldn't get into it. I didn't like the whole hack and slash, and that's for all three games. So yeah, there isn't much for me to talk about. I did like the amount of outfits you could get into the game, and I just really enjoyed it. Just to like have different outfits for Bayek. But it's just, there isn't much I can talk about Origins where I'm like, hey, this game is amazing. But I can understand why some people like it. I feel like the stealth system has become weaker then. I don't know. I want to love it, but I can't. The other problem I have, which can be a problem for the other Assassin's Creed games, is sometimes the setting of the game. I dislike Syndicate for the most part because Victorian England was not as interesting for me. I just didn't like it as much. And for me, the whole Egypt era or just the whole place and stuff is just uninterested for me. Sounds maybe wrong, but it's just not my thing. So when an era or a setting within a game is disinteresting for me, there's always a hard time for me to really get into it. But I still liked it more than Syndicate. So I'm going to put it on the bottom of B tier. I still hold the other games higher. Odyssey. Now, again, Odyssey was another game I didn't play on release because I saw the gameplay and I'm just there thinking it's kind of the same as Origins. We're still with the RPG system. I was damn, really still? It's also the most further Assassin's Creed game you can think of. Sure, there's snippets of Isu and stuff like that. So I guess within the lore of Assassin's Creed, the game can still be called Assassin's Creed, but there's no assassin. The combat was an absolute bloating mess. It took you like 40 hits to kill just a simple guy. There's no real assassin outfits that you could think of. There are some hooded ones, but most of them are also paid, which I don't want to talk about because ever since Unity and the whole Helix store, it's just a big pile of shit. Yeah, also, again, the Greek setting, I'm not a fan of it. So I just couldn't like it. So, because I have a friend of mine who absolutely loves Odyssey, but that's also because he loves Greece. And I can understand that point of view. But for me, these warm weather things, not my thing. So I'm already going into the game with disinterest. Another problem I have, which I think it's since Origins, but Valhalla has the worst one. The audio is a mess. It feels like I'm in a cave. And audio is very important for me. As for most people, I just struggle to enjoy a game where it just has bad audio. Where sometimes the music is too low, sometimes it sounds super compressed, or there's artifacts within the audio. I just disliked it. The map was massive, too big for me to like. I just like smaller maps. I didn't like it. I just simply didn't like it. I'm honestly putting Odyssey on the bottom of seed here. There's nothing good I can talk about the game. My apologies. Valhalla. Now, this is a setting I do like. Norse mythology, Vikings, hell yeah. So that's already a plus for me. The campaign though, I liked it. It was just a mess, a bloating mess, I mean, in the sense of it took you way too long to finish the story. The game would have been perfect for me with the RPG elements, because again, I still dislike it no matter what. And the whole level up system is just so convoluted. It's like they tried to mix Path of the Exile with Assassin's Creed, and it's not a looker. But it's just, if there were 3 less alliances to do, I might have actually put Valhalla on S tier, because I really enjoyed the story. The music is superb. If anything, I still listen to the soundtrack to this day. Every day I still listen to at least one of the songs from Valhalla. But that's also because I've been a fan of Wardruna, and that's where Einar is basically in. So to have him in Valhalla for me is just very exciting. So yeah, but I just there's some nitpicky things I dislike. The combat for me is still, I'm just not a big fan. I also have to say that there's not a single outfit I really like in the game. If anything, the second upgraded outfit from the Raven clan armor has been the favorite one for me. The one with it has like a bluish outfit. And I also do it uncloaked because I don't like the cloaks in the game. They make you look way too big. No. So yeah, I enjoyed the story for what it was. I just wish it was slightly shorter, about 3 alliances shorter, because I'm still getting nightmares of Ivor saying, I want to see the alliance map. And I'm just, no. But yeah, it could have been an S tier for me, man, because I have actually spent too many hours on the game, but it needed to be a little bit shorter in my opinion. So yeah, I could deep dive into the game, because I really loved the idea of the Isus being the Norse gods. It was just such a mindfuck. For me, even though for people it's controversial, but I actually like the Asgard and I believe the Jotun saga stories the most. Like where you actually get to play as Havi. I'm just there like, bro, this is fucking cool, man. The way they represent it and just the music that plays, the music that plays in Asgard as you and then afterwards you jump off your throne all the way down, and it's so cinematic and it has so much weight, bro. That made me fall in love with the game even more, man. Yeah, shit, bro. It's really good. Just again, I wish it was slightly shorter. I do have to say, like, if I do want to talk about the DLCs, I haven't actually finished Dawn of Ragnarok. I will be doing that after I finish all the other Assassin's Creed games again, because I was replaying it. But again, halfway through the game, I was getting a little bit tired because I realized how long it will take me to finish it. So I did have to take a break. Yeah, honestly, Valhalla just needed 3 less alliances for the game to be very good. Yeah, that's my opinion. So I'm gonna actually put it on the top of A tier. Just no S tier. Now, Mirage is also an easy one for me. I actually haven't played it. I still need to get into it. I will at some point, but for now, I will not until I finish everything, because I wanted to do from beginning till end. But I do want to skip Origins and Odyssey, sadly, because the replayability for me is not as much fun. Syndicate I'll purely replay because I've only finished it once, whereas the other games I've done at least once or twice. But yeah, this is my tier list. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Black Flag was going to be on S tier regardless. It's just still my favorite game, and I hope if they ever remaster the game, that it becomes one of the best things ever. But my hopes, since Skull and Bones was released, I don't have high hopes for that. So yeah. Anyways, let me know what you think about the tier list. Otherwise, give me your own opinion. I'd love to hear it. I know I couldn't really, I hate to not being able to talk in depth of each game, because I've played them all to the point where I could talk about them for hours, but I had to show, I don't want to make the video too long. So it's just about these games right now. This is my tier list. So yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and peace.